Hi friends, this is your pal Scott Garibay, and today we're going to talk about American politics and specifically the 2025 Snow White film. And I'm not going to bury the lead here. Peter Dinklage sucks now. I'm just going to say it. I didn't want to make this video, but I think it's important to make this video because what Peter Dinklage did to a specific marginalized group is abominable, and I think he owes a public apology, and he needs to set this right. All right, so let's get into this. So first of all, I'm a massive Peter Dinklage fan. I don't need to tell you that. You can go through my videos and find it out. I have done very favorable coverage of his depiction of Tyrion, his work in the movie Penelope, his work in some of his indie films, his work in the Hunger Games, right? He has been hugely successful as a Hollywood celebrity, okay? But what he did in Snow White is absolutely abominable. So Peter Dinklage a while back came out, and as they were going to create Snow White, there were a lot of people were like, okay, well, I guess we're gonna, this movie famously has dwarfs in them, and these are Dungeons and Dragons type dwarfs. They actually say in the film that these dwarves have been living together for 275 years and mining the mines for gems for 275 years. These are classic Tolkien dwarves, right? And in the movie, they are represented by CGI, computer-generated imagery. I'm not sure if they used AI or not. There was a lot of depictions saying that, oh, these aren't good CGI. I've seen the film. I can tell you they're excellent CGI. They dance, they sing. You're able to tell every action that the dwarves do. They look like dwarves. CGI is fantastic. There's no problem with the CGI. The problem is, as this movie was coming out, there was this question, and people were like, okay, well, what little people are going to be hired to play the dwarves, right? Because traditionally, these roles have gone to little people. And because naturally, their attributes make it so that little people can play dwarves. You don't have to pay, and CGI is not cheap. It's outrageously expensive. It's one of the most. It is literally the most expensive thing Hollywood does, right? So if you hire a little person to play a dwarf, it's a natural fit, and they can bring that character to life. We've already seen this in many films, right? So Peter Dinklage comes in and he says publicly, it's not appropriate to have little people play dwarves. Like, what? Wait, what? What now? Right? And so Peter Dinklage, the most powerful little person in the world, bar none. Do you even know the name of a single other little person? I doubt most Americans could name anyone past Peter Dinklage. I could be wrong there, but I'm not sure I can, right? And so he is the most powerful little person in the world. And so I think what his intention was like, oh, you need to just hire little people as actors, right? And they need to be in everything, and they need to be able to play every role, right? Well, here's the problem with that, right? This Disney film was a major production. It cost well over it cost well over $200 million, right? So first of all, that's a lot of money, right? So these little people could have been given a very nice paying job, right, to play these dwarves. And here's the kicker, right? I saw the movie. The dwarves are fine. They're fine. They're not terrible. They're not nightmare fuel, as you've heard, right? But the reality is, little people were not used to bring them to life in their physical aspects. Instead, a computer was given that job. Now, the problem is, every single one of these roles was a career that could have been Peter Dinklage's career. Almost certainly would have been Peter Dinklage's career, right? And the issue is, like in Penelope, so the issue is Peter Dinklage has taken roles and brought these characters to life. But now he's coming and he's saying, oh, that's not allowed here, right? I'm allowed to come in and make my career by meeting expectations and then exceeding expectations, right? Because the world has this expectation that little people will play dwarves. There was an expectation on this movie that little people would be given this job, right? Because it's happened before in Hollywood's history. And Peter Dinklage, who has played these roles, comes in and says, no, I got my shot. I got to have my massive career, but these people can't. They can't meet expectation and then succeed expectation. Hollywood needs to change, and Hollywood needs to make sure that dwarfs in Lord of the Rings, in Snow White, in anything that is even remotely inspired by Tolkien fantasy, which is literally everything, right? That we need to make sure that little people do not get a chance to play these roles. That's outrageous. Peter Dinklage sucks. I was his biggest fan. You could see it. I literally have no less than a dozen videos on my channel singing his praises. Now I'm telling you, Peter Dinklage sucks. And every single dwarf role in this film could have been played better, brought to life, and the singing and the dancing would have been way better, right? By good, sound, little people, actors and actresses who would have come in and met the society's expectation, right? And then exactly like Peter Dinklage, go on to go way beyond, to exceed expectation, right? It's hard to say, I'm going to exceed expectation if you're not even allowed to meet expectation, right? And so Peter Dinklage, in this position of privilege, went to took a situation, and this is, in my opinion, why the Democrats lost. The intention was to help. I think Peter Dinklage's intention was to help. He's like, Hollywood needs to only give little people, the lead role in an action film, right? That was his intention. But what happened is these were real jobs that could have paid $1 million plus each. $1 million plus each. There was a $200 million. These are major positions. He could have made 7 millionaires out of little people, right? Out of 7 different little people, and then launched careers just like his own. There were 7 careers stolen with his words, right? And it's not stopping there, right? People are not pushing back on Peter Dinklage, and I am pushing back. Peter Dinklage, I was your biggest fan. Now I think you suck, and you owe a public apology to little people. Little people should be allowed to play the roles that they choose. They get to say if this is appropriate or not appropriate. And you made a sweeping declaration, right? That corporations should deny little people jobs that they are a natural fit for, right? That will save those corporations millions of dollars, and then those millions of dollars, even half of it, can be paid to the little people community. But instead, Peter Dinklage comes in, he gets into the party, all right? I'm a little person, I'm fully accepted as a major actor in Hollywood, but now I'm going to slam the door on the rest of my community. It sucks. Peter Dinklage, you suck. You can fix it. You don't have to suck any longer. Apologize for costing 7 good little people the millions of dollars and denying them the same robust career you have. You have to publicly apologize and walk back your statement and say every little person should be allowed to play whatever they want. The studios should offer them dwarf roles in every Loader-inspired fantasy film first. Not give it to computers, tripling the budgets on these materials, and making sure that the little people are cut out from the millions that they should be earning. Every single word you just heard in this video is my humble opinion. The important part is when I get to hear your humble opinion, when you get in the comments and send your traffic. Please consider subscribing and have a fetch millennium.